All right, ladies and gentlemen, Jason Hetland here one more time with a webisode of the Rodeo Roundup. A ton of things happened this week. I can't even begin to comprehend on what's all happened. The Rodeo Roundup has been breaking news stories left and right all week long, and we're going to go through them one by one, leading up to the American and the Iron Cowboy, which I will be at with your support, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. First of all, the PRCA, my friends, Carl Stressman, the board of directors, and all the governing body of the PRCA is causing a lot of rift still. There's been talk with the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo where it's going to be. There's been talk of the defecting Cowboys. There's two great offers on the table between Florida and Dallas and Las Vegas, but let's talk about that with the Las Vegas deal. You can see behind me earlier today, just about 3 o'clock this afternoon, the PRCA Board of Directors voted unanimously to hold the NFR in Vegas through the year 2024. That's right. The Board of Directors said, okay, it is time to keep the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo where it has been the last 29 years. People have been very excited to talk about it. But here's the deal with that. The Wrangler National Finals Rodeo and the Las Vegas Events offer, Las Vegas Events was supposed to come back to the PRCA and their board of directors on Tuesday. That was their deadline to have the offer. I talked to folks at Las Vegas Events earlier this week, right after Tuesday, and they said that there is no deadline, no time frame for the offer. I've talked to, my folks at the media relations department at the PRCA office in Colorado Springs, and they said, in fact, yes, Tuesday was the deadline for Las Vegas Events, or otherwise they were going to look at other options to starting out the 2015 season. So all the hype got started again real fast Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, when there was no offer that came back from Las Vegas Events. We talked about the Dallas offer. We talked about the Florida offer. Which two of those cities was going to win the thing? Everything was quiet. I was talking to my contacts down in Vegas. I was talking to folks in Florida. Everybody was excited. Everybody was posting on Facebook. We're within days of finding out. Come to find out, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday this week, after the Tuesday deadline had passed for Las Vegas Events, the PRCA Board of Directors and the Commissioner, Carl Stressman, flew to Dallas and flew to Florida just to rehash and negotiate and find out exactly what was on the table for the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo. So everybody thought Vegas was out of the picture. That's what everybody was thinking. That's what, from my understanding from the guys I've talked to, the PRCA Cowboys did not want to go back to Vegas. But when it came down to it, the board said, no, Vegas is a place to be. The current offer, as it was released this afternoon, $16.5 million yearly in prize money. $10 million of that will go to the contestants. $3 million of that will go to the contractors, specialty acts, etc. Personnel. As part of the contract as well through 2024, each participant in the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo will get a minimum of $10,000 just for showing up to the event, and that does not include or will not be taken out of any money that's won throughout the 10 performances. So, yes, the Cowboys get a little bit more money per performance if they place, and they get a $10,000 show fee. Okay, but here is the issue that I think a lot of the Cowboys have, and a lot of us were kind of perplexed when that news came today. Dallas and the state of Texas had an offer on the table. Everybody thought that Florida couldn't be beat. Well, guess what? It could have, and looking at all the numbers, I'm not understanding how the PRCA decided Vegas, which Granted, it's the best place, I believe, for the fans. Don't get me wrong, everything's centrally located. The Cowboys, especially the ones that are defecting and talking about starting their new organization, are not happy at all. I have sources within Texas that are, immediately close to the negotiations that are happening and have been giving me information throughout the process. Everybody in Texas was disappointed that the PRCA chose Las Vegas. Everybody was under the impression that it was going to be Dallas was going to be the next host city. And here's why I'm a little bit perplexed. I said $16.5 million for the Las Vegas bid is what it was. All right. Texas offer right now, I talked to my contacts down in Texas tonight once the news broke to find out if I could get them to tell me what their offer was since it was not released. And they obliged and told me that I could talk to you folks about the offer. And here's what they told me. The state of Texas has programs in place to bring events like that to the state of Texas. They have two different clauses. They have what's called an event clause, and they have what's called a major event clause. Here's the deal with the event clause. Dallas, Texas, point blankly, with the event clause, it's money that they have set aside to bring events to Texas, okay? They were guaranteeing $18 million a year, and this was going to be a 5-year contract. So right off the bat, it's $1.5 million more than Las Vegas was offering. It's right up there with what Florida was offering. So right there, your two cities are more than what Las Vegas events settled for. But here's the kicker to that. I said $18,000 by Dallas. Now, when the PRCA board of directors and the commissioner was in Dallas, they talked to the Governor Rick Perry and State Representative Cecil Bell Jr., which everybody saw on the stories. And what that meeting was about, come to find out, is there's also a clause per se in the state of Texas legislation that they have a separate fund for major events. And what this clause would have done, and it was already set to go forward into legislation, this would have brought $6 to $12 more million per year to the NFR for the 5-year contract. That means the total purse, remember, Las Vegas events is $16.5 million. When this legislation would have passed for a major event and got the state money, it would have been worth $24 to $30 million a year in Texas. Like I said, I questioned some of the PRCA's choices, and we talked about that in last week's webisode between the RFD TV and as well as the CBS Sports Network, giving up the money that RFD TV was going to give PRCA and paying CBS Sports Network. And then come to find out this with millions of dollars less for the contestants. Once this news broke, Cliff Cooper, huge star in the PRCA, went right on his Twitter and said, devastating, quote unquote, devastating. This is devastating for the Cowboys. So you can tell right there that the top athletes in the PRCA are not happy about this. But here's another thing that is kind of interesting. I did some research. The Thomas and Mack, where the NFR will be held now through 2014 unless we can get a stadium built in Las Vegas, which there's talk about an arena, but nothing's final, and I don't believe that was part of the contract. Right now, that arena holds 17,000 people per event. Okay? Florida came on and said, we're going to go in the Amway Center, but the thing is by the second year, we're going to build you a brand new arena that seats 24,000 people. That's 7,000 more people per event than what the Thomas and Mack can hold. But that's not even it right there. I talked to my sources down in Texas tonight when it broke, and the American Airlines Center was going to have 28,000 seats per event in the configuration that was set up for the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo inside the American Airlines Center. Folks, that is 11,000 more seats per night over a 10-night period than what the Thomas and Mack can hold. You know, that would have meant a lot for the fans. It would have been ticket prices would have been cheaper. There wouldn't be so much scalping going on, everything else. What this means, yes, the NFR is staying in Las Vegas through the year 2024, but it's one of the only deals in this whole drama that's unfolding. We still have the Cowboy defection, what's going to be announced with the association, and now that Texas and Florida have put that money aside to try to get to the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo to their states, guess what? We have Randy Bernard in the RFD TV, the American, which is starting in Arlington in March 2nd. That could be a bigger, huge thing that could go all year. We have the Cowboys that are talking defection that we haven't heard anything from. So I would guarantee you that within one of those two cities, something big is going to happen that's going to come in to compromise and try to run with the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo that's being held in Las Vegas. We will find that out in 2015. It will be very interesting. But let's switch gears a little bit. PBR, Professional Bull Riders. You know, huge things are happening on the horizon in the PBR. It's brand new into the 2014 season, and so many things are happening already. Yesterday, Thursday, the 23rd, huge announcement prior to the start of the Oklahoma City stop on a Built Ford Tough Series. We have fans in the PBR that come to watch their favorite Cowboys, but we also have fans in the PBR that come to watch their favorite Bulls. And at the end of the 2014 season, we are losing one of the best and well-known bulls in the industry, possibly in history. That's the legendary Moreno bucking bull, Bushwacker. Julio Moreno has decided that after the 2014 season that Bushwacker will be sent to retirement. You know, he's got a really nice ranch up in California, and he's quoted to say that Bushwacker is going to have a great life of retirement. At any one time, he's going to have 20 to 21 girlfriends around him. Who wouldn't complain about that? Just kidding. But anyway, Bushwacker is going to be retired, and he's going to be bred. So you may not be able to see Bushwacker anymore after this year, but you still will be able to see his offspring and descendants of him as well. On my website, on Rodeo Roundup, I did do a story about Bushwacker's retirement. On there is the 11-stop farewell tour, as they're calling it, in the Built Ford Tough Series. So go on there, and if you are anywhere close to these 11 stops throughout the rest of the year that Bushwacker is going to be, make sure to get a ticket and go see, because it will be the last time that you will ever be able to see the great bucking bull Bushwacker. That brings us to why the announcement was this weekend. I have a feeling right now. You see behind me, J.B. Mooney and Bushwacker, your world champion cowboy and your current and reigning world champion bucking bull, are going to go one-on-one on the first 15-15 bucking bull challenge in Oklahoma City for the 2014 season this year. Bushwacker has a 96% buck-off rate. He has only had 2 rides aboard, and the last ride was J.B. Mooney last year in Tulsa, Oklahoma for 95.25 points. This matchup has been worldwide talked about. They're talking about comparing this matchup to the legendary Lane Frost and the legendary Red Rock. So, my friends, right now, Red Rock and the great bull rider Lane Frost is going modern day with J.B. Mooney and Bushwacker. So it's going to be a great time and great to see it. So, ladies and gentlemen, Catching you up all week long right here. It has been one hectic week, and it's going to be one great week and many weeks to come with everything going on. This has been Jason Hetland with the Rodeo Roundup with your webisode with all the late breaking news. I'll see you next week.